Hey guys, my name is Erin Kate, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you 10 simple steps to help you land your first UX/UI design job. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in learning more about how to transition into the career field of UX/UI design, subscribe to my channel as I'll be sharing videos here every week. So you've been working hard at your UX design studies, whether solo studying or in a boot camp. You have some solid case studies put together, but now you actually have to move into that process of applying for your first UX design job. I was hired for my first professional UX design position about a year ago. I actually landed that job before I had fully finished my design boot camp. I went into the job application process with a lot of enthusiasm. I really enjoyed it, and along the way I created some systems to kind of streamline that job application process, and I truly believe that these systems helped to propel my success and help me to get a job fast. The way I'm going to break this video down is I'm going to take my job application process and I'm going to deconstruct it into 10 simple chronological steps that you all can then use for your own job application process to help streamline it and hopefully land you that first professional UX design job. A little side note before we dive right in to help you prepare your mindset for applying for these jobs and creating your portfolio. My mindset advice is to look at yourself and your design skills as your own personal brand. Before I was a UX designer, I did a lot of online marketing and social media management, and I branded quite a few small businesses and helped them, bring their business to life online, so giving them a personality online. In this mindset of crafting my portfolio and my resume and pitching myself to hiring managers and to companies as my own personal brand, I really believe that that mindset helped me to land that first job really quickly. As you go through these 10 steps, keep in mind that you want your information to be very consistent across all of your platforms, all of your social media pages, all of your design related pages. Keep that in mind because that consistency is what helps to form that solid personal brand. A great way to do this is starting with step number 1, create an email for the job application process. Having an email address dedicated solely to the job application process and to your design portfolio is going to help you stay more organized and also respond to potential opportunities in a more timely manner. I recommend just using Gmail to create a free @gmail.com email address and keep it clean, fresh, clear, simple. Here are some of my favorite combinations for a designer's email address. Number 1 is your first name plus your last name @gmail.com. Number 2, if you don't want to use your last name, is to do your first name plus your middle name. Number 3 is to add hello or hi to those first 2 choices. So that's usually if someone's already using your full name or your first name and your middle name. Adding a hello or a hi still keeps it nice and professional, but it also adds kind of a friendly touch. Number 4 is to just use your name, first and last or first and middle, with UX/UI at the end. I would do something like Erin Kate UX/UI @gmail.com. I think that's a nice way to keep it clean, let your email address speak for what you're about. Any of those combinations will work pretty well. Once you create this email, you're going to use that across all of your professional platforms. More on that soon. Step 2, create a portfolio website. Creating a portfolio website definitely felt like the biggest hurdle to jump for me in this whole application process. Luckily, I had experience with creating a few drag and drop websites, so I knew the route I wanted to take when it came to creating my own portfolio website. I used Squarespace years ago when I created my very first website, and I've used it ever since for all of the other websites I've built. The reason I'm mentioning my history with Squarespace is that although my portfolio website was not the first website I've created, Squarespace is the tool that I used way back when, and I found it really easy back then. No, I wasn't a complete beginner this time creating my portfolio website, but in empathy for you guys that haven't created a website yet, I remember when I first used Squarespace and it was very easy. There's a lot of great tutorials and step-by-step walkthroughs of how to use it. For that reason, I'm gonna recommend Squarespace to you guys watching my video as well, and I'll give you a quick walkthrough of how to build your first portfolio using Squarespace. After that, I will suggest a few other popular favorites in the design world for portfolios. To create a website on Squarespace, all you need to do is sign up with your email for a free trial. That free trial will expire after 2 weeks, and at that time, you will need to sign up for a subscription. Inside of Squarespace, there are really beautiful templates you can start with, and you can even filter those templates and choose portfolio-specific templates, so that makes things even easier. Once you've chosen your templates, you'll essentially recreate your case studies within the pages of your website. A lot of designers just put their case study projects right on the landing page of their website, but you can also create a section section labeled work or projects. One of the most important things to have on your website is a section that has a clickable link with a downloadable PDF version of your resume. Recruiters are very busy, so they may only be on your website for 30 seconds and not even look at your projects. What they want is an easy way to download your resume to their computer so that they can look at it later or forward it on to hiring managers. The easier your information is to access, the more likely it is that you're gonna move forward in the hiring process. Have your case studies displayed, your resume easily accessible, and a nice About Me section just to add some character and draw again on that personal branding idea. Keep this entire step of creating a portfolio website simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, and trust me, done is better than perfect, because this is a step that I find many designers, including myself, really let hold them back. Once you get that first portfolio website out, you're gonna feel really good, you're gonna feel excited to go and start applying. You can always go back and iterate and clean it up as you please. All right, here are some other portfolio builders that I know of, and I'm gonna list them in the description box below, but I'll also just bullet point them off right here. As far as I know, these are fairly easy to use as well. They're very popular in the design world, so don't hesitate to look into them if you're not feeling Squarespace, and give them a try. Number 1 is UXfolio. Number 2 is Behance. And number 3 is Wix.com, which is very similar to Squarespace, and I actually have used this once. I didn't enjoy the templates as much as I liked in Squarespace, and I was so accustomed to Squarespace, but Wix is definitely an option right up there with Squarespace for designing your portfolio website. While we're on the topic, if you would be interested in seeing a more detailed, in-depth video about how to build your first portfolio website, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you prefer a more watch and learn style video or a sit down, mapped out bullet point talk. All right, you have your portfolio website, but there may be a section on it that we just talked about a lot that's currently empty, your resume, which will bring us to step 3, create a stellar resume. Resumes are crafty little beasts to tackle. They're not only meant to showcase all of your experience, but they're also often ran through like a keyword organizing algorithm. For this reason, it can be a little confusing to create a really stellar, optimized resume. You need to fit all of your experience, all of your contact info, all of the links to your websites or your social, and then you also need to have it highly optimized so that when it goes through this bot or this system, it's pinging all of the right keywords. Technically speaking, this bot or algorithm that I'm completely messing up the terminology for is actually called ATS, or Application Tracking System. It works similarly to how SEO, search engine optimization, works for a website. It will look for keywords and phrases within your resume and then sort them to best match the job description via a given score. Disclaimer here, I'm not a resume pro, but I have tinkered with different formats and discovered that some formats really do perform better than others. I measure this through job application responses and the time it takes to receive those responses. There's a lot more information that can be found about optimizing your resume online. There are even people that specialize in resume optimization. For my own resume, I actually did work with a pro, and she really helped me to nail it. There are 3 main lessons that I've learned in creating a stellar resume. Focus on keywords. I did this by reading through just tons of job descriptions, and I would type down and make a list of the keywords in the job descriptions. So sketch, Figma, agile environment. And so that is really how I nailed that first step, is just reading tons of job descriptions and keeping a running list of them. And then I did take it even further by, highlighting and sorting out what words were reoccurring the most frequently, and then those were the keywords that I would go and put on my own resume. Number 2, make sure to add links to all of your other design resources on your resume. So you want to link to your portfolio website, you want to link to your LinkedIn profile, if you have a Behance profile, if you have a Dribbble profile, you're going to want to link all of those on your resume. Number 3 is a bit more random, but it did come as a surprise to me. If you're in America, forgo putting your picture on your resume. This was a surprise to me, and I learned it the hard way, but apparently it's very frowned upon in America to put your picture on your resume. However, in Europe, it's preferred. I actually looked it up, and fun fact, 80% of recruiters won't even consider your application if your resume has your picture on it. So definitely avoid your picture on your resume. All right, now we're on step number 4, cover letter hack. In full transparency, I really hate writing cover letters. They were a step in my job application process that I really identified as slowing me down. I also have a suspicion that they're often overlooked. If you know otherwise, definitely let me know in the comments below, but the way my brain looks at it is that if they're putting my resume through an ATS scanner, I highly doubt someone's taking the time to read my whole entire cover letter. That being said, I really don't have any idea what the read rate for cover letters are. Yet, better safe than sorry. How I have approached this frustrating step for myself is that I will write a versatile cover letter that I can easily change the addressee of. So I usually will write up a cover letter either in Figma if I want to make it look pretty and add a little extra to the border or the color of the page or something, or I will just create one on Google Doc, plain and simple. Many UX design positions are looking for the same type of skills. What I do is that I'll write my cover letter and then I'll just go in and change the name of who it's addressed to. Dear Google, dear Facebook, dear Robotech. You get the idea. And that way I always have a cover letter handy when it's required, so I don't have to go and fret and like pause my application process to go create a cover letter. That being said, if you do come across a job posting that you're just like really into and you really want it, I do recommend taking the time to rewrite a brand new cover letter that's very optimized for that particular job, which again, you can do by looking at the job description and almost copying and pasting some of the requirements for that job. That's something I would recommend if you're like super pumped about a job. Step number 5, create a LinkedIn profile. This one's pretty easy. I broke this step down into some micro steps. So the first thing you're gonna do is upload a nice headshot of yourself. If you don't have professional headshots done, you can just go ahead and choose a photo that you like of yourself where you're forward facing, you're smiling, and I usually crop it from the shoulders up. As for a background photo on your cover page, a couple ideas are to go on unsplash.com. They have great stock photos for free. Download something design related. They have some UX design type photos on there, or even download just a beautiful landscape and use that as your background photo. Another option, if you're feeling more creative, is to go onto Figma, choose the LinkedIn cover size, and then you can, do something with like your favorite UX design quote and add some pretty illustrations to it or something like that. Idea brainstorming here. Then on your profile, you're gonna wanna add all of your relevant information. LinkedIn will walk you through this, so they make sure to let you know if you're missing a step or if you're missing information. And you already have your resume created, so it's gonna be really easy to copy and paste your work history. Be sure to set your profile as open to work. So that's gonna let recruiters and hiring managers find you more easily. Lastly, you're gonna go ahead and start building your network. Go and look up UX designers. You can do that just by searching UX designer and adding people from there, or you can go onto your favorite company's websites. For me, I really like Airbnb, and so you could go and like add the UX designers from that team. Another great little sneaky tip is to look up tech recruiting companies and then add the recruiters to your network. You never know when your profile might catch someone's eye, but you have to put yourself out there. Okay, step 6 is to join UX design related Facebook groups. Joining Facebook groups can give you an advantage over job boards. This will give you more opportunities to see live job postings, connect with other designers, and possibly lead you to your first job. I've linked some really good ones in the description box below. Step number 7 is similar to step number 6, so it's more of that networking idea, but you're going to join Slack channels. I've listed my favorites in the description box below, and you can go ahead and check them out, create your Slack profile if you don't already have one, and start adding yourselves to these channels. I was really surprised by how many job opportunities I came across via Slack channels. It's also really easy to reach out to people via Slack, and it feels very organic and natural. So if someone does post about a job opportunity, don't hesitate to shoot them a message and be like, hey, I just applied, really excited, looking forward to connecting, or something like that. And on Slack, it just doesn't feel as cheesy. It's not as impersonal as Indeed or Glassdoor. It just feels more natural. Take advantage of that organic communication style that Slack offers and go with it. I have 2 favorite job search sites. Those are LinkedIn and Indeed. You already have your LinkedIn profile set up, so you're ready to go start searching their job boards and applying for jobs, but now you need to do step 8, and that is to create an Indeed profile. I really like Indeed because it makes the job application process seem pretty seamless. When you properly load your information into your Indeed profile, it's pretty easy to apply to most jobs from there. You can upload your resume and cover letter files as well so that they're preloaded when you want to go apply for a job. And that's awesome. I find that it makes it easier to apply it to jobs from my phone, my iPad, from any device, because Indeed goes ahead and saves those files for me. I do recommend creating an Indeed resume as well. I just do that by copying and pasting my PDF resume onto the Indeed resume section. And I do think having an Indeed resume has given me some good results when it comes to optimized job suggestions, as well as recruiters reaching out to me first. I don't know if this is true, but it could have something to do with their algorithm. Maybe they appreciate you using that feature and they're rewarding you for it, but go ahead and try it out, it doesn't hurt. I also like Indeed because it allows hiring managers to express their interest in you as a possible candidate for the job, and it will send me an email so that I can confirm my interest. And I think this is a nice added feature as well, because that means that they're coming to you sometimes, the recruiters. You're not always having to reach out to them, and because it's set up with your email address, it also helps with not having to always go on and check your Indeed account. Now, of course, there are other sites to find job listings, but Indeed and LinkedIn are a really solid place to start. I do plan on making an entire video all about where to find UX job opportunities, especially for junior designers, but that will be in the future. So for now, get started with LinkedIn and Indeed. Okay, step 9. So we're almost there. You almost have your first job. Hunter. Create a Hunter account. Hunter is another completely free tool to use to streamline your job application process. Hunter is, and this is quoted from their blog, a tool to help you track and organize your job search. The jobs that you apply for are scattered all over different websites. Not to mention, if you've also applied to jobs via email or a Facebook group link or a Slack group, it can get really overwhelming. And that makes it really hard to remember where we've even applied to and where we stand with that opportunity. I've literally had people call me regarding job applications, and I have to just play along for the first few minutes until I figure out where exactly they're calling from for what company. So Hunter is set up really intuitively, and it offers you a place where you can keep track of all of your applications and where you're at in the application journey. My approach to applying for UX UI jobs is that it's a bit of a numbers game. I'll get more into that in the last step, but for now I'm just gonna say that you might find yourself applying to 100 or hundreds of jobs, and I really found Hunter to be helpful for organizing, prioritizing, and following up on those job applications. I've also linked their quick start guide in the description box below, so it is really nice because they do have even more resources on their website about how to properly use their tool and be most successful with it. So we're at the last step, step number 10. You're ready. Step number 10 is apply. As I said in step 9, it's a numbers game. This final step of mine is very much based off of my personal experience. I don't have any official research or statistics on this step. I'm just going to share with you how my brain was operating when I was applying for my first UX UI design job. Make a list of all of the locations that you're willing to relocate to. Now, this might not be applicable, so if you're not willing to relocate, just stick with your current city. When you run your first job search, you're going to include all of the cities that you're willing to relocate to, or just your current location. If you want a completely remote job, just set your job search to remote and start there. I will say that for new designers, it is kind of an up to get a job quicker if you're willing to relocate or if you're willing to do an on-site or a hybrid, so on-site remote type of position. However, I do see more remote offerings now, even more than I saw a year ago. This is the perfect time to get that remote job if that's what you really want. Then don't forget to run job searches with junior in the title. Whether you shorten it to JR or you type out junior, do run job searches for junior designer positions, because this is gonna up your chances of getting hired sooner and getting that experience under your belt sooner. In essence, apply to as many jobs as you possibly can. The way that I see it, between ATS scanners and just the huge pool of applicants you're likely up against, on some job websites you can actually see that. I think on LinkedIn you can see 200 people have applied for this position. When you take all of that into account, it is a numbers game to some degree. So you wanna get out there, you wanna apply to as many positions as you possibly can. When I was looking to land my first UX design job, I personally was applying to 50 jobs a week. I just trusted that the job that was meant for me would come to me, but I knew that I had to put myself out there first and open up those doors for that job to come to me. And it took me about 6 weeks, but then the perfect position did come along. Interestingly enough, there were 2 cities I had been willing to relocate to, and that was Denver, Colorado and Nashville, Tennessee. And those were the only 2 cities I was willing to consider, and my first job was here in Denver. I'll add here that I didn't just settle for any job. I waited until the job opportunity came along that felt very exciting and it lit me up, and it felt in alignment with where I was at in my life at that time. So I hope that you'll do the same. don't just force yourself to take a job because you want a job so bad. Make sure that you have some level of excitement and lit upness about that position, because even though it might be logical, it might not be the most logical choice for you. So you want to set yourself up for success as a designer, especially when you move into your very first professional position. Don't rush it, but do open up all those doors and put out all those applications so that that momentum is created. Apply, 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 apply. Keep track of it all in your Hunter account, and then you can do follow-ups for your job applications as well. I probably only followed up on about 15% of my job applications, and those follow-ups were earlier on before I kind of switched to that mindset of it's a numbers game, just apply. But also the jobs that I did follow up with were the jobs that I was most wild about, that I really, really wanted, and that I also felt like I had a good chance of getting. Jobs that I might have followed up for, I was more likely to follow up for a job that I applied for via Slack channel rather than a LinkedIn job posting that I could see had 300 applicants. That being said, go with your gut. Now we have covered my 10 simple steps to streamline your job application process. I really hope this video helps whoever's out there that's struggling to just deconstruct the process, take the first step, start moving forward, and find motivation. I'm going to go ahead and bullet point the list here on the screen just so that you guys can take a quick screenshot. If you're like me, you like visuals, you can have that little list to keep on your phone and start checking off one at a time. Step 1, create your designer-only email. Step 2, create your clean portfolio website. Step 3, create a stellar resume. Step 4, create a versatile cover letter using keywords and phrases from job descriptions. Step 5, create your LinkedIn profile. Don't forget to set your profile as open for work, and also don't forget to reach out to those tech recruiters and start making connections. Step 6, join Facebook design groups. Step 7, join Slack design channels. Step 8, create an Indeed profile and optimize that profile as well as you can by creating your Indeed resume. Step 9, create a free Hunter account. Step 10, search, apply, repeat. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really excited for you to get started applying for your UX design jobs. If you need any extra help, feel free to comment questions below and I will do my best to answer them. I sincerely am here to help you guys. I'll be sharing videos every week with hands-on tips to help you land your first UX design job fast. Next week, I'll be sharing my very first design portfolio that got me my first professional UX UI design job. Can't wait to see you guys there.